Yes. Hi. This is Super Dave again. I'm glad to be here. Um, I just want to re-emphasize that the first three Superman movies they all get 4 stars, and so far each one has been better than the last. I don't know where to rank the Donner Cut, but Donner Cut's not in my top 10, but or even top 20. But still, Superman 1 gets 4 stars, Superman 2 gets 4 stars, Superman in both versions. Superman 3 gets 4 stars. Now, unfortunately, Supergirl, I'm only giving 2.5 stars. Um, you might ask, well, why the downgrade? Why the lower rating? I'll give first my praise to this picture, brief but profound praise. But then I'm also going to give some criticisms as to why I think the movie could be a lot better. Supergirl was released in 1984, July of '84, in London, England, and then it came to the United States, I believe, November 21st, 1984. It was made right after Superman 3 was made. It was directed by Jenno Schwartz. Jenno Schwartz is a very good director. He's made some of my favorite movies, including Somewhere in Time. And in a few minutes, we'll talk about Santa Claus the movie and how I feel about that. Um, and he's also made Jaws 2, which I think is a very good movie. You know, Jaws 2, will I give that one 3.5 stars. So I'll get to another time when we discuss the Jaws movies. But anyway, General Swark, I think, has his heart in the right place and set out to make a good movie. Again, the film is executive produced by Ilya Salkin, financed by his father, Alexander Salkin, but producer Pierre Spengler only did uncredited consulting on this one. Timothy Burrow uh, assumed the role of producer, mainly because Pierre Spengler was still finishing up Superman 3. What's the biggest praise that I have for Supergirl? I would have to say, in terms of characters, in terms of action, I would say the character of Supergirl herself, played wonderfully by Helen Slater. I think she does a great job. Um, Not as thrilling as Christopher Reeve, but you know what? She's comparatively very good, and I think does her absolute best as Supergirl. When we see her on the camera, we believe her as Supergirl. I think that that's a very good thing. The movie opens where they're in Argo City, which is an offshoot of Krypton, I guess. They were like survivors before the planet exploded on Krypton. And unfortunately, the life source of that planet, called the Omega Hedron, gets lost. And so Supergirl, or Kara, her name, goes out to find it. And anytime you see Supergirl on the screen, it's an impressive set piece. You know, it's an impressive characterization. She also plays her alter ego, Linda Lee, very well. Because when she arrives on Earth, she does very much the same thing that Superman does. Um, and that is that uh, she's a schoolgirl in her day to day life, like a college student or a high school student, like a prep school student or a boarding school. And then she's Supergirl when she has to perform fantastic feats. Um, I think the movie is very lyrical. I think it has a lot of grace to it. It's pretty to look at in many respects. I mean, not all respects, but in some respects, it's very pretty to look at. And I enjoy that. I also really enjoyed Hart Bachner's portrayal as a potential love interest for Supergirl. I thought it was great to have him in there. Also, Jimmy Olsen's Mark McClure's Jimmy Olsen comes back and has a nice relationship with Lucy Lane. Trying to remember the actress who plays Maureen Teefy, I believe. Yeah, that's right. Who played Lucy Lane. Um, but I'm going to mention a few problems that I have with the movie. The main plot involves how the Omega Hadron, the power source for Argo City, lands on Earth into the hands of some witches, played by Faye Dunaway as the main witch, and Brenda Vaccaro as Bianca, and Peter Cook, who's kind of on the fence, kind of a goofball. Not sure if he wants to get involved with the good guys or the bad guys, or good girls or bad girls, I should say. And I think the problem with Supergirl, and I think General Schwartz or the script writer, David Odell, they should have taken more care not to wink at the camera. We got through the first three Superman movies, even part three, without winking at the camera because we had Christopher Reeve there taking the role seriously. Now, Helen Slater takes the role seriously, but anytime you cut to a scene with the villains, you think, this is camp. A lot of it's not funny. It's just not enjoyable enough. I mean, that's one of my problems with it. It's good popcorn, sit at home and watch it on a big TV type entertainment. But I wouldn't pay full admission price to go see this. I mean, maybe with a discount or whatever, but I think a lot of the jokes fall flat. Here's another problem I have with the movie, especially the movie's central action sequence where there's a tractor trailer, like a trailer tractor that goes out of control. The movie lacks pacing in terms of understanding that scene. And it just takes forever and forever and forever for Supergirl to catch on and understand. Come on, isn't there a character connect? I guess not. Again, I do love the Hart Bachner Ethan and Linda Lee Supergirl love story. I enjoy that. Um, and I enjoy the lyrical, loving elements of the picture. Um, but I'm not resounding with praise for Supergirl the way I was with the Superman movies. I think there were a lot of missed opportunities, quite frankly, in this picture. Occasionally I'll sit and watch it, but I just don't rank it with the other films. So anyway, this might be a shorter review, but one other thing I'll mention, and that is it's interesting how they explore the Phantom Zone in this movie, how Supergirl is temporarily sent to the Phantom Zone. And there are some other good action sequences, like where she's got to fight against the witch's power and stuff that I think are interesting. But one of the problems, and Richard Lester, who did Superman 2 and 3, pointed this out, you need to have powers that don't change so they can even each other out. And because the powers are constantly changing, where's the challenge in terms of the story? It's like there's no objective power source. It's just bobbling all over the place. So instead of the flying, by the way, I should say, is beautiful. Instead of flying straight through, it's like wobbly all over the place in terms of its script, in terms of its story. So I kind of like the movie, but I kind of didn't like the movie. So a mixed review for me. All right. Talk to you in a few for next time.